Welcome to the Elevating Leaders series, where we go beyond the headlines and straight to the people who are redefining insurtech and business transformation. We've caught up with the visionaries and the pioneers that are currently driving the industry forward, bringing you exclusive insights, strategies, and stories you won't hear anywhere else. If you're ready to go deeper, this is your front row seat to the future of insurance. I'm Miguel Edwards, and this is 5 Minutes.
You mentioned the term AI, and of course we've got to dive into that because we're here at ITC. We're like, you cannot have a conversation about that. But what I'd like to ask you to do, Jenna, is take your EagleView hat off, because you guys obviously sound at least like you guys are a tech native type of organization. So of course you're going to be able to round that curve and you're going to incorporate it. But if you think about the industry writ large,
oh yeah.
What are you thinking about, or how are you thinking about how AI is? Are we ready? Because we've been talking about it for a long time. We're starting to see it being adopted. Where are you in terms of a life cycle for AI right now in insurance?
We're not as far as we need to be. I think, throw in some shade, like we're gonna get lapped. Like I think like our customer service is already lapped by the likes of Amazon, same-day shipping, things like that. And we've been talking about that for a long time. But this is just that next level of evolution that is just going to lap us again if we don't start to adopt it. And what I think is hard is we're in such a heavily regulated industry that we're also in the business of mitigating risk. Yeah. Right? So having those two things in our ethos, I think makes it hard. But I think that AI has to meet carriers and solutions providers and vendors where they are at today, right now in their current process. Right? Because I can sell a vision that, hey, we can get to a point where estimates can be fully automated and a check sent to the policyholder. But they're just not there yet. Yeah. The infrastructure's not there yet. So how can we start to do little bits and pieces of this? Such as self-driving cars. Right. Now I can parallel park it. Now I can, there's different levels to this, and I think we can start to graduate into it. But man, I wish we could go faster.
Yeah. I hear you. I wish we could go faster as well. But if I take a slightly optimistic look at it, Jenna, I've been in the industry for 25 years, and it feels like, at least for me, this is the fastest we've ever moved on something. I guess that's a sad statement, right? That given how slow we're moving, that this is the fastest I've seen. I mean,
I love that. You're right. Your mic drop. I mean, for real. No, you are 100% right. So
it's a sad statement then, I guess.
It on both fronts. Right. Yes, it is the fastest, and yes, that is the sad statement. Yeah. But I haven't thought of it that way. So I'm so glad that you pointed that out. And I think other parts of the value chain are picking it up faster. I think distribution is actually picking it up much faster than claims and underwriting.
Agreed.
What really excites me is seeing underwriting making their own models. I'm you're my kind of people. Yeah. Own your own destiny, because only if and you're building your own stuff can you actually fix it or change it, when you need to. So what I want to do is make AI not a black box.
Right.
And I think that's really where that's how the industry has to have it served up to them.
Right.
Because if it remains a black box, they're at risk of getting called out on it at any point in time.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody today that was giving a great example of how that breaks bad when Apple and Goldman Sachs partnered for their Apple Card. I don't know if you remember that. Women were getting a lower credit limit than men, just across the board. And they asked the representative on stage, they said, "Why is this happening?" And they said, "I don't know." Because it was an ML model that was actually making the credit score, the actual credit limit determinations, and they didn't know why it was happening. Obviously, there was an implicit bias that was built into the modeling that needed to be corrected. Imagine that happening on the claims adjudication front, right? Just en masse, claims being improperly adjudicated, and the regulator says, "Why is this happening?" And carrier's like, "I don't know."
Yeah, I just bought it. Yeah, I didn't understand what I was. Yeah, and that's not acceptable.
100%.
And if any of us were asked that and said, "I don't know," we would be fired.
Yeah, 100%.
And what makes me, God, you say that, it's my head is going to is it correlation or causation? Are females actually, worse off at paying their bills? I don't know.
I would bet it's actually the opposite. Everything
That's what
I've
I
ever
would
read
think.
says that women are more responsible
in my
than
household,
men.
yeah, like I kind of manage that, but most of the females I know. But that's the demographic that I hang with.
Yeah, right.
So I also have some bias
Right.
in my sample size, but that's fascinating.
No, but so I tie that back to what you said in terms of where you're seeing the adoption. So I'll summarize. You said on the front end, that's kind of more co-pilot type of use cases versus claims adjudication. Underwriting is more decisioning. We're scared of that right now.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so, but we're over here, we're okay with co-pilot. Make a suggestion. I'm still going to use my own human intuition to figure out where I go. But you're not making a decision for me.
I love that distinction. Did you just come up with that?
Well, no, you did. I just paraphrased it.
Oh, that's genius.
You see?
I gotta talk to myself more often. That's where the good ideas come from. I love, and you know what? We don't want to put our ultimate outcome into something else's hands that we don't fully understand. You know, and I think that's why, I don't drive a car that drives itself.
Thank you for joining this episode of 5 Minutes. If you've enjoyed our discussion, we'd love for you to share it with anyone else you think might find it interesting. Also, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on and hit that bell to stay on top of the game with our practical 5-minute episodes. We look forward to seeing you again next week.